Hello, and welcome to another Marvel Snap deck overview intended for new players just starting the game. Today, we're going to go over a deck that can be created completely out of cards from the first 14 collector levels, which are guaranteed card rewards, and cards from the Recruit Season Pass. This list is featuring around Spectrum, who gives your ongoing cards +2 power. So we're going to combo her with as many ongoing cards as we can and a few other good tempo plays. Now this deck, featuring only the guaranteed cards, has a lot of room for improvement. If you've unlocked any ongoing cards from the mystery cards, feel free to swap cards in and out and experiment for yourself. On this account, we have a bunch of mystery cards unlocked, and we'll be opening a bunch at a time and exploring what decks we can build with those in a future video. Starting off is Ant-Man, who, for 1 energy and 1 power, has the ongoing effect. If you have 3 other cards here, it gains +3 power. So not only is this an incredible 1-cost card on its own, it has the ongoing effect, so Spectrum can buff it even further. Next up is Hawkeye, who, for 1 energy, has the on-reveal effect. If you play a card here next turn, +2 power. Next up is Misty Knight, who in the same vein as Hawkeye, is just a cheap body that we can put onto the board to buff up with a few of our other effects and spread our power as wide as possible. Rounding off our 1-cost cards is Nightcrawler, who can move once per game, which has a lot of utility and can get you into locations that are hard to directly play cards into. Following that is Colossus, coming in at 2 energy and 3 power, who has the ongoing effect he can't be destroyed, moved, or have its power reduced. This is the average stat line for a 2-cost card, and with the ongoing ability, Spectrum can give it a buff to make it just a little bit stronger. Following that is Sentinel, who, while not having an ongoing ability, has the on-reveal effect to add another Sentinel to hand. This is just going to allow you to maintain some tempo and always have a card to commit to the board. The first of our 3-cost cards is Mr. Fantastic, who has the ongoing ability, adjacent locations have +2 power. This is a great way to spread a bit of power wide. It's a total of 6 power for 3 energy, which is pretty decent, and being ongoing gets the Spectrum buff. The last of our 3-cost cards is Punisher, who has the ongoing effect +1 power for each opposing card at this location. You're going to want to aim to play this in a location that the opponent already has multiple cards committed to, and he benefits from the Spectrum buff as well. Next up is Kazar, who, coming in at 4 energy and 4 power, has the ongoing effect your 1-cost cards have +1 power. So not only is he an ongoing card to gain a buff from Spectrum, he adds additional power to the board and is the reason we're playing the number of 1-cost cards we are. The first of our 5-cost cards is Iron Man, who has an ongoing ability that doubles the power at the location he's played to. This synergizes well with our Spectrum, and Iron Man with even just 1 other ongoing card after a Spectrum buff can win a lane all on their own. The last of our 5-cost cards is Blue Marvel, who is the reward for completing your Recruit Season Pass. He has the ongoing ability, your other cards have +1 power. So you want to have as many bodies on the board as possible, and is the reason for some of our other plays, such as the Sentinel and all of the 1-cost cards. And lastly, at 6 cost is the key card Spectrum, who gives your ongoing cards +2 power. This can be a pretty large spread on the last turn and can take games by surprise. Now let's hop into some games and see the deck in action. First location is Daily Bugle, which adds a Mr. Fantastic from our opponent's hand. Maybe they're also playing a Spectrum deck. We have no turn 1 play, which with 4 1-cost cards was pretty unlikely, but we'll roll with it. Ooh, Shadowland adds a -2 power ninja to both of our sides of the field. For now, we'll commit the Colossus, play Mr. Fantastic on 3, and then maybe another Mr. Fantastic and an Ant-Man on turn 4. That'll be a lot of ongoing cards for our Spectrum. Well, on turn 6, we're going to swap hands, so we're not going to have access to our Spectrum. We'll see how that plays out for us. Luckily, the Spectrum shouldn't do much for our opponent. Do we still want to go with the Mr. Fantastic to the center lane again? That gives us a pretty good power spread, and Khazar is not doing much for us. It will buff the Ninja, and maybe the Ant-Man and the Nightcrawler. Actually, yeah, let's play Khazar into Mindscape, spread our power a bit, and plan on putting a bunch of bodies onto the board next turn. If we draw Blue Marvel, I'll be pretty sad. Ooh, they also must have copied our Mr. Fantastic with the Daily Bugle. Oh, and we do draw the Blue Marvel. That's 7 power compared to potential 8 power from Nightcrawler. Plus we get to play the Mr. Fantastic. I think we go with this line. Plan on getting the Ant-Man boost next turn. Our opponent has a large hand as well, so we'll be bound to have some plays. So they fill up the Daily Bugle, so we know roughly what we're aiming for. We already wanted to fill up this lane to buff our Ant-Man, which will have the added benefit of reducing the power of their Lizard. Okay, so they're likely to play the Spectrum, which is 5 power, which would not be enough to win them Mindscape. Spectrum is going to buff their Lizard and their Mr. Fantastic for an extra 6 power here. We're going to reduce 3 power from the Lizard, so we just have to beat 20, which Odin and the Ant-Man should get us. So we're going to snap and pass back to them since we know what they can do. Oh, they go with the Blue Marvel over the Spectrum, which is actually less of a power buff.
Victory.
And that makes for an easy 4 cubes. Let's hop into another one. This game we have a pretty good curve against Khazar. No, we won't start with Nightcrawler. Let's get the trigger out of Hawkeye. We can combine that with a Sentinel, and then on turn 3 play Sentinel and Nightcrawler, giving us a couple of 1-cost cards for a Khazar and a Sentinel for a future play if we don't draw anything better. They play a Mantis, but we didn't play to the right side, so they don't get to draw one of our cards. Danger Room could be a little difficult to play a card into, but we draw the Colossus, so ooh. We'll play Colossus on a future turn. For now, we're just going to play the Sentinel to make sure we get our Hawkeye trigger. Next turn, we can play the Colossus and the Nightcrawler. Third location is Monster Island, putting a 9-power monster on the side of the board for both of us. Let's go with our Colossus into Danger Room, and we'll play Nightcrawler over into Xandar and move him as necessary. They also played the Danger Room. Hopefully, Danger Room benefits us and destroys it. Or it's 0 power, although it was quite a power swing to their other locations. We're gonna play the Khazar. And then we can follow that up with a couple of extra cards and finish off with the Spectrum. Hopefully we draw Ant-Man. Ooh, we dodge their Star-Lord trigger. Oh, we do draw the Ant-Man. So let's play Ant-Man to Xandar, Misty Knight to Monster Island, and we'll throw the Sentinel out into Danger Room, see if we can stick it. Even if the Spectrum dies, we do have... Even if the Sentinel dies, we have a Spectrum to buff up the Colossus. And we are currently winning Xandar despite their Devil Dino. And if they'll have to play another card. So we should be pretty safe here. We're already winning Danger Room. Spectrum should lock this one up. It's going to add an additional 6 power, plus the 5 of her own. They play a Spectrum of their own, but have only 1 ongoing card. And we take our 2 cubes. Especially after seeing the Devil Dino, I wasn't quite feeling comfortable snapping there, but we'll take what we can get. On to the next one. We have Spectrum in our opening hand this time, so barring Mindscape, we should get to leverage it. They also have a Colossus in hand, and that's where we pull off the Daily Bugle, which is a nice extra ongoing card for us to play. We'll start with the Nightcrawler, who it doesn't really matter where he goes. And we'll see what we're working with next turn. Ooh, Death's Domain. So we can actually put the Colossus here, since Colossus can't be destroyed. We know our opponent has a Colossus, but if they didn't pull ours, we'll have a good chance of winning Death's Domain. Nightcrawler also has the opportunity to move into Death's Domain if necessary. They also make the heads-up play of Colossus. But we're going to be able to put an extra 3 power there. So let's go with the Colossus and the Ant-Man. Our Spectrum's going to buff up both of our Colossus, so we'll likely end up moving Nightcrawler into Wakanda if we need the extra buff for Ant-Man. They commit another card to Daily Bugle, but I don't think we'll end up fighting for that location. And we dodge their group trigger. So we'll likely want to go Iron Man into Spectrum. So let's play the Hawkeye into Wakanda, and we'll just put the Misty Knight on the board. Make it look like we're fighting for Daily Bugle a bit. Okay, they're winning in 2 of the 3 locations, so they snap. But we have a pretty good play line, so we're going to snap back before they see our Iron Man. Oh, we actually fill up this location without moving the Nightcrawler. So we might actually just move Nightcrawler into Death's Domain just to make it extra safe. And Spectrum here will give an additional 6 power from her effect. Filling up will be an additional 9. That will get doubled by the Iron Man, plus the 5 from Spectrum, so this should be an easy win. We're behind on the board now, but Spectrum adds so much power that you can swing games pretty easily. And it's a little easier to get the 8 cubes than an Odin deck. Ooh, and they changed the location into Monster Island with Scarlet Witch, and our side was full, so we don't get the benefit of the monster. But our total power is still just so high that that's an easy 8 cubes for us. Let's hop into another one. The next game is against Dadith. And we have the Space Throne, meaning only one card can be played here for each player. We don't have a very strong card power-wise to commit here, so we're not gonna worry about Space Throne for right now. Let's play Hawkeye to the middle location and plan on following that up with a Colossus. Ooh, a Daily Bugle will give us a bit of insight as to what's going on in our opponent's hand. We pull their Sentinel. Hopefully they didn't get our Iron Man. Let's stick with the Colossus play for now, since that will get a buff from Spectrum. And if we don't have a better play next turn, we can play the Sentinel and the Misty Knight. Although we might start running out of space on the board soon. Something you have to be aware of when a location prevents you from playing multiple cards. If you put too many of your cheap cards on the board, then there's not space for the more powerful cards. Especially with a location like Sinister London, which can copy a card over into our Space Throne. This game is looking tricky. Do we even play a card this turn? If we played a Sinister London, it's just going to fill up our Daily Bugle, or potentially our Space Throne. We'd like to get an ongoing card into Space Throne, if possible. I think we just pass. These cards are too low power to be effective in this situation. Ideally, we can double the Spectrum. So hopefully we can find a good ongoing card to play here, or they change the location for us. Sinister London adds a copy, so we'll actually be able to put our lower cost cards into the Crimson Cosmos, potentially. So let's plan on playing the Punisher. If we add Misty Knight, that could end up filling up our Daily Bugle. Although if that's the case, we'll have a Punisher and a Colossus, which will get double buffed by our copied Spectrum, which might be sufficient. Let's commit the Misty Knight, get a little more power on the board, and what happens, happens. So they double a Khazar with no one-cost cards currently, so that works in our benefit. Punisher goes over to the Crimson Cosmos, and the Misty Knight goes to the Daily Bugle. Now we'll double up on our Iron Man. This Scarlet Witch really benefited us more than them, I think, because we were in a tight situation, being able to get effective cards onto the board. Ooh, they also double an Iron Man. And their Iron Man heads to Crimson Cosmos. And our Iron Man also heads to the Crimson Cosmos. So if they double a Hulk, or a card of that magnitude, with the Iron Mans, we likely just lose? Because Spectrum is adding 11 to our board. So it basically has to be exactly Hulk. Let's snap and hope it's not Hulk. We should beat most other plays, because we're going to get +6 to all of our ongoing cards. Them playing 2 cards means there's no Hulk in our future. Ooh, double Blue Marvel is still pretty good, though. but it's not enough. We actually tied Crimson Cosmos and won the other two, so that was a good 8 cubes. The Spectrum really paying off here, adding quite a lot of power to the board, especially with the double Ironmans, each being at base 4 power to double. Just made it so strong. These 2 cards alone was enough to reach 26. Let's head into a couple more. This next game's already looking pretty good. We have Spectrum in our hand and a couple of early plays. We're not going to want to play to the negative zone if we can avoid it, so let's play Hawkeye. Let's change it up. Let's blindly throw right. We can follow up with a Nightcrawler, get the Hawkeye buff, and move Nightcrawler out as necessary. One of the things that makes Nightcrawler such a good card is it doesn't matter where you commit it to early. You can change up your game plan and make space where necessary. Moore Island would have been a good place to have had our Hawkeye, but for now we can drop the Nightcrawler and add Ant-Man over there. We might move the Nightcrawler preemptively just to start gaining the benefit of the +1, especially since we can't easily play into the negative zone. Ooh, multiple locations that benefit us having cards there. So we can play the Punisher on 3, Sentinel on 4, possibly another Sentinel following that. It's a lot of power to be missing out on if we don't move the Nightcrawler. Let's do that and plan on not playing a 4th card until the last turn, and hopefully get a couple cards into Stark Tower before the end of the game, or before turn 5, I should say. Ooh, and they get us with the Groot. There's quite a struggle going on in Moore Island right now. We get Khazar, which will buff up quite a lot of our cards. Let's go with that. We're not going to get the benefit of the additional Sentinels, but this is a good number of ongoing cards. We have a good number of 1-cost cards, and Spectrum should give us the buff we need to win. So they play an Angela, which is pretty scary. Hopefully they don't have too many cards they can add there. We do get the Misty Knight. Is it worth filling up one of our locations? This location gets the biggest after we play the Spectrum, considering Ant-Man and Punisher are going to get the buff. Plus Ant-Man will get an additional +3. So that's 7 extra, +1 from the Punisher if they cap this out. That's 8 extra, which is a 5-point difference. I think this is worth it. We'll get the extra power from Stark Tower. All of our cards are too little to commit to the negative zone, so hopefully they spread something over there, which helps us win these 2 locations. So they play something to the negative zone. Changing it with Scarlet Witch makes it Space Throne, so they're actually not able to commit any additional cards.
All systems go.
So this should be... Oh yeah, they snap. They think they have it. But what we're able to do here is snap back, play the Spectrum to Space Throne, which will beat their Scarlet Witch, and the +4 power we send over to the middle lane here will be enough to swing it in our favor. Plus we're already winning Stark Tower, so this might actually be a 3-location win. Yeah, Odin is not going to be enough. We actually take all 3 locations thanks to their Scarlet Witch play. Easy 8 cubes. Let's hop into one last game, and see if we can get a few more. Our first location in this game is the big house. Luckily, most of our cards are small, so for now we can commit the Nightcrawler, and we'll be able to play quite a lot of extra cards to that location as necessary. We'll probably want to follow that up with the Colossus. Since it's ongoing, we want to make sure it's on the board if we draw our Spectrum. And then we can play Mr. Fantastic to the Daily Bugle. Ooh, we get their Namor, which is a very good ongoing card from Pool 1. If you happen to have this in your collection, this is great with Spectrum, because you can put it into a location by itself. It's 10 power alone, plus the extra 2 from Spectrum, makes it able to win locations without having to commit the additional cards. That is a great pickup for us. And thanks to their Squirrel Girl, they will actually never be able to trigger their Namor. So this should be a pretty good game for us. Ooh, Scarlet Witch changes the big house into Monster Island. So now we're almost full here, although we can move Nightcrawler out. Ooh, and we do get the Spectrum. Combined with the Mr. Fantastic, we're going to be able... Ooh, I guess he's not going to get revealed till the end of the game. So we're going to miss out on the Spectrum buff if we play Namor to the Dark Dimension. But that'll still be 12 power with the extra 2 of the Mr. Fantastic. We have Iron Man, which we'll be able to use to great effect in our Monster Island. Let's play the Namor. Plan on moving the Nightcrawler into the Daily Bugle with the Spectrum. And the Iron Man, combined with the Colossus and the Monster and the Spectrum buff, should be more than enough to win Monster Island. In fact, let's snap here. They're ahead, unlikely to immediately retreat, and we should sneak out a couple extra cubes. So let's play the Iron Man. Get a huge power swing here. And depending on what we do, we can move the Nightcrawler if we feel like it's necessary. We're already winning by a lot, and we'll get 6 extra power that gets doubled. So yeah, let's move the Nightcrawler out, play the Spectrum, and actually have a good shot at all 3 locations again. Spectrum buffing Iron Man and one other ongoing card just ends up being so much power that their Devil Dino, winning them the Daily Bugle, is not enough. We should quite easily win the other lanes here. Ooh, just barely, thanks to the extra buff of Mr. Fantastic, actually. Victory! So that was way closer than I thought it was going to be. But it just shows the power of these ongoing cards when you give them a bit of a buff at the end of the game. Let's wrap it up there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to give a like or a subscribe. And if you have any questions or feedback for me, please leave it in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, and happy snapping.